As promised in my Rose and Patchouli fragrances video yesterday, did you catch that one? Please catch it if you didn't. But as promised, I wanted to do an anticipation video for 3 new fragrances that are launching soon from the house of Tom Ford in the Private Blend collection, and it's called Rose Garden Collection. So 3 fragrances featuring roses. Are you excited for these? I am excited for these fragrances, always am for Tom Ford fragrances, and I'm anticipating to check them out and smell them. So I'm going to discuss these 3 fragrances, plus discuss 3 current on the market rose fragrances from the house of Tom Ford, which includes Noir de Noir, Rose Prick, and Cafe Rose. So find out about Tom Ford's Rose Garden collection coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian, and yes, today I'm talking about the new Private Blend collection fragrances from the house of Tom Ford called the Rose Garden Collection. And those 3 fragrances are Rose de Ruci, Rose de CHINE, Rose de Amalfi. So we've got Rose going to Russia, we've got Rose going to China, and then we've got Rose going to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. Very exciting fragrances. I looked up notes, nothing available, but I found an article and I've looked up the notes there, and it seems very, very simplistic fragrances that are in the Private Blend collection. I want complexity for this collection. Are these going to be kind of weaklings? I hope not. We shall see, because the only way we're going to find out is once we smell them. But either way, I'll let you know about them and also let you know the 3 current rose fragrances from Tom Ford in the Private Blend collection. Before I do that if this is your first time tuning in and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click that subscribe button and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So how many of you is a fan of rose fragrances, and how many of you are fans of Tom Ford's fragrances, especially the Private Blend collection? Did you hear about the Rose Garden collection? Do you have any currently from Tom Ford that features rose in the notes, like Noir de Noir, Rose Prick, and the Cafe Rose? There have been other rose fragrances in the past. I think they're all gone. At least these are the ones I have. I don't have any other roses from Tom Ford, but I am anticipating these 3 new fragrances. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is Rose de Ruci. So this to me seems like it's the most, or the darkest one out of the entire collection. And it's about at nighttime. So according to the notes I read, the 3 fragrances are about transporting you to a different destination, which a lot of fragrances do seem to be about that these days anyway. But I like this. I like this topic because for me, buying fragrances on travel is one of my favorite things to do, because when I wear that fragrance after I bring it back, I remember that trip. So destination fragrances all kind of go hand in hand. But let's talk about Rose de Ruci. This to me, as I said, seems like the most darkest or more intense or most complex fragrance, at least from looking at the notes. Features for top notes: rose, heart notes, spicy white pepper, woods, base notes, leather. So yeah, it's a leather rose combination. It does work. I believe this combination works, although yesterday's video was rose and patchouli. So also, I'm noticing that out of the 3 fragrances, 2 features rose in the top notes, and one of them features rose in the heart notes. So typically top notes fade away. So is rose really not the topic or the prominent featured note? Because with this one, Rose de Ruci, it's developing into a leather fragrance. Will we smell the rose from the top notes all the way down to the leather? I don't know. So I'm a little not sure about these fragrances. I hope these notes are maybe somewhat not correct. I don't know. But this is an article I found about these fragrances, and I wanted to find something to let you all know about. But overall, though, I feel like it sounds like a great fragrance. I'm into the leather fragrances. I like the spices and the woods together. But as I said, the rose at the top kind of seems like it will fade away by the time you get to the leather. Who knows what will happen? Hopefully there's more rose in the other stages of the fragrance. We shall see. But either way, Rose de Ruci. How many of you like the sound of this particular fragrance? Let me know. Put a comment down. So the second fragrance that is in this collection is Rose de CHINE. So China rose, or rose from China. So we had Russia, now we have China. This one to me seems like it's a little complex, but not as much. This one seems a little more floral than complex. Starts off with the rose once again in the top notes. Heart notes features yellow peony, and base notes features Cistus absolute or Cistus labdanum and myrrh. So for me, the most complex notes are in the base here, whereas in the Ruci or the Rose de Ruci, there's complex notes in the heart and also in the base. So this one doesn't seem as complex as the first one because we've got flower at the top, we've got a flower in the heart. Finally, we've got some, ambery resinous touches in the base. But I like the sound of this. Sounds like it could be fun. Sounds like the rose and peony will blend together to kind of like develop into the base. And if the base kind of gets ambery, I do enjoy amber, resinous ambery kind of a thing. So we shall see if this one's nice. The thing with these bottles is that they're also clear. And so clear bottles to me seem like they're not a lot of complex notes in there, or the juice is a little light. It's okay to expose to light rather than, having it in a dark bottle like this, which is not clear and the juice is kind of protected, or even rose prick, you can't really see the juice, so it's protected from the light and it's not going to expose it. I don't know. We shall see. But one other disappointing thing about these notes is there's not a lot of notes credited, so they seem very simplistic fragrances. In the old days, you'd see notes and it'd be like several paragraphs of notes. Now it's like, what, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes at the most? I don't like that the brands are doing this. But anyway, we'll see how it is. But let me know if you think Rose de Chine sounds great to you, or do you prefer Rose de Ruci more? Now the third and final one seems to be the lightest of all the 3 fragrances. And I think this is the order. Ruci is the darkest or the more complex. Chine the second one. And then Rose d'Amalfi is the third one. Seems a lot more fresher to me because it starts off with bergamot for top notes, rose in the heart notes, and heliotrope in the base notes. Heliotrope to me is almondy, has an almondy touch. It's powdery. So this particular one seems like a fresh powdery rosy experience. I don't know, we shall see. I'm assuming there's more notes besides these 3 notes in this particular fragrance. Otherwise, are we wearing like soliflores or something that's very, very light that's just focusing on roses? Yeah, these notes don't seem very right on to me. I'm hoping that there's some more complexity with these fragrances. Otherwise, why spend the private blend collection dollars on fragrances that are that simplistic, right? Yeah, so this one seems the least interesting to me as well. The first 2 are fine. I'm curious about them, but I'm assuming there's going to be more notes added to these 3 fragrances. But either way, let me know if Rose d'Amalfi sounds great to you. And if you haven't yet, let me know which of the 3 fragrances sounds great to you. Are you excited about this collection called the Rose Garden Collection from Tom Ford Private Blend? Do you enjoy the fragrances in this collection? Oh, one thing I did notice also is that they are 50 ml, $245, and EDP concentration. They seem, like I said, 50 ml, 245 seems pretty high. The last fragrance they launched, Ebene Fumé, is also this price, and I'm still waiting for the decanter bottle of that fragrance. They haven't launched it yet. I don't know how well Ebene Fumé is doing. Have you guys gotten a bottle? Did you smell it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. But I was told Ebene Fumé would launch in the decanter bottle the beginning of December, and it still hasn't, and now we're almost in January. Anyway, those are my thoughts on these 3 new Rose Garden Collection fragrances from Tom Ford. Let's talk about the 3 current rose fragrances. So I already discussed 2 of these fragrances in my video yesterday, the Rose and Patchouli fragrances video, but I'm also going to bring them up today. Tom Ford's Noir de Noir is a fantastic rose fragrance, one of the best I think out there. Although when I first started wearing it to now, it does seem like it has gotten lighter and lighter, but as a smell, I think it's still a great smelling fragrance. It features rose, patchouli, truffles, saffron, floral notes of vanilla, oud, and oak moss. And the truffles I'm talking about with this one are the truffles that you would grow underground. They're very, very expensive, used in pasta and things, dishes, Italian dishes and things like that. But this absolutely is one of the most delicious fragrances for any house. And this particular fragrance also has a chocolatey quality, a dark chocolatey quality with all the notes combined together. But it's absolutely delicious. This is probably one of the best fragrances Tom Ford has ever launched, and it's still around today. It's been around for a long time. And even though I think it's gotten diluted or lightened up, I think it's still a great smelling fragrance, Noir de Noir. Let me know if you're a fan of this one. I can't remember the names of the other rose fragrances in the Tom Ford collection. I know that there was a rose oud one that came out with tobacco oud, and then they did relaunch the oud wood in a different bottle, and then they had that oud. I think it was called Oud Fleur. Now I remember. Yeah, I think that was the one. But I don't know if they've had other rose fragrances. But let's talk about Rose Prick, which was also featured in my video yesterday. Once again, it's a combo of rose and patchouli, just like the Noir de Noir. And I think both of these are definitely cheaper style fragrances, but they're different experiences. Turkish, Bulgarian, May Rose here, along with patchouli, Tonka beans, Sichuan pepper, and turmeric. Yes, I think, as I mentioned in the video yesterday, there's so much rose in this one that it's kind of like overpowering the patchouli. And even though there's lots of patchouli, I feel like, as I said, lots of rose with a little patchouli, Tonka, Sichuan. There's a spiciness there. There's earthiness there. And it's a great smell. It smells kind of green also, which I forgot to mention yesterday. But it's a lovely smell, and I just wanted a little more rose. And also, even though there's so much rose in here, I feel like it's a little on the dry side, not necessarily kind of like silky, smooth, syrupy kind of. Either way, that's Rose Prick, and I don't know if you guys are fans of this one. And I was saying in another video, I don't know how successful Rose Prick became for Tom Ford, that they would launch a whole collection called Rose Garden Collection. I don't know. The last fragrance, the last rose fragrance I'm going to talk to you about from Tom Ford is Cafe Rose. This was a more recent acquiring for me. I bought it 50% off. And it was a great price, but I think it was an additional 10% off of that. So these retail for $630. No, it's gone up to $660. So it's 50% off of that, and then there was an additional 10% off of this. So I haven't spoken much about. I have worn it in the past in a bottle like this, but it's now back in my collection. But I have a feeling this will be discontinued in the future. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I don't know how popular it is. So yeah, it was discounted, but it's also kind of in that ballpark of like coffee rose fragrances. Nothing like Intense Cafe or anything. This once again is a very dry experience for me. But this one also features Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, May rose, along with lots of coffee with incense, patchouli, sandalwood, black pepper, and amber. And I was toying with the idea of featuring this in my patchouli or rose and patchouli video, but I feel like this one's not necessarily about patchouli. It's more about the rose and the coffee and the incense, then the patchouli comes in. But I think it's a great combination of something that smells like coffee, because once again you have those three roses in here, and it feels like the rosiness overpowers everything else, but you experience other things, but it doesn't come off as strong as the rose does. And once again, it's a great fragrance. It's been around for a long time. I'm glad to have this at that great discounted price. I think that's a great price. Yeah, if it's another Tom Ford Rose fragrance, Cafe Rose. So if they have all three of these, plus the new 3 Rose Garden fragrances, that'll mean there's 6 rose fragrances in the Tom Ford Private Blend collection. Are there any others I'm missing? I know Oud Fleur I just remembered, but there might be something else that might have come out before and then had been discontinued. I just don't remember. But either way, those are my thoughts. I'm excited for the Rose Garden collection. I hope they're a lot more complex than what notes I found online. I hope that they're actually great fragrances, because I'm a little underwhelmed with Tom Ford lately. I don't know, something's happened there. They're not like delivering us with some amazing fragrances. They seem like they're just cranking them out and seeing what sticks, and it's not anything like fabulous, because fabulous was not really fabulous anyway. And I feel like since then, I think everything has kind of gone downhill. Hopefully there will be something really, really great soon. Well, hopefully the Rose Garden collection will be. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments about any of these fragrances I discussed, please write below. And let me know if you're anticipating the Rose Garden collection fragrances from Tom Ford. And also let me know if you wear the current Tom Ford rose fragrances. Either way, I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.